Welcome to Across the Desk, where we discuss entrepreneurship, small business, and everything in between. Hey, it's Elizabeth Plouffe, and welcome to Across the Desk. Today is Entrepreneurial Entrails, and I'm focusing on the pain. Doesn't that sound so awful? It is Monday, so for some of you, there's a little bit of pain. I happen to love Mondays, so although today's a bit of a sucky Monday, I will be honest. One of my goals for 2018, I don't believe in resolutions, as I've said before, I do set goals, is to share my angst less. So I will not go into why my Monday is a sucky Monday, but I will relate it back to pain. And I'm going to kick off by once again reiterating the importance of learning. And I can't tell you enough how important that is. I don't care where you are in your career or your business or whatever. There is always something to learn, and there's always somebody who's smarter than you in something to learn from. And one of the things that I go to right now to learn from is Netflix, which I know sounds peculiar. But if you do a little digging, there's a brand, I don't know if they're brand new to me anyway, so they're kind of shiny to me. On Netflix, there's a series of interview shows. And one of the ones I stumbled across and gave a thought to was a new one from Jerry Seinfeld called Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. And I wasn't sure what to expect. I was a little hesitant because I've never been a massive Seinfeld fan, but I gave it a go. Is it ever good? And especially some of the guests that he has on. I mean, I'm a huge Steve Martin fan. I can't wait to see that episode. I'm trying to, hold myself back from rushing through. I did that. There's a show I really love on Netflix called Father Brown. And I went through 4 seasons in probably a couple of months, which doesn't sound too long, except for the fact that I didn't realize I had watched the last episode until I went to sit down again with my tea and cookie and my relaxing time and realized it was all over, and it was very sad. Anyway, so the last episode that I watched with this Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and Jim Carrey's was awesome as well, was with Trevor Noah. And I don't know a lot about Trevor Noah yet. I don't tend to watch a lot of later night TV, but he has intrigued me on numerous occasions, so I am going to investigate a little further. During the interview with Trevor Noah, they were discussing apartheid and what Trevor Noah's life was like living in South Africa and having a white mom and a black dad, and the lessons that he learned and what it taught him. And there was another reference within that. And Jerry Seinfeld came back with a quote, which I haven't been able to attribute to anybody else, so I'm assuming it's his. And he said, "Pain is knowledge rushing in to fill a gap." And I absolutely love that. Pain is knowledge rushing in to fill a gap. And he made the valid point that it can be anything from stubbing your toe, which the pain of that teaches you to turn the light on, to, being within your business and having skill gaps and having to either learn them yourself or learn the valuable lesson of hiring people smarter than you to fill those gaps. So I absolutely love that. And for me, anyway, it really goes towards the power of learning and continued learning, which I advocate for everybody. So I'm sharing on this episode some of the resources I've used over the past year or two to fill my skill gap. And now, luckily, I'm hiring people smarter than me to help me out. One of the recent ones that I found is Creative Live, and this comes from Chase Jarvis. And I'll just read you off some of the classes that I've purchased. I've got Command the Fees You Deserve from Elise Benun, Master the Art of Teaching from Michael Port and Amy Port, How to Break the Habit of Self-Doubt and Build Your Confidence with Mel Robbins, it's completely super awesome. The Power of Negotiation from Vanessa Van Edwards. I haven't gotten into that one yet. And then I work in Illustrator. But my introduction to Illustrator was quite brief. It was amazing. Eva McNeil was my instructor at Sheridan, and she did a fantastic job. And I've taught myself a lot, but now I'm at the point where it's time to go to some experts. So I've got designing icons in Illustrator, building infographics, and infographic elements from scratch in Illustrator, which is going to take my skills beyond and have me be able to do better for my clients. Then I've got entrepreneurship and presenting your best self online. And that last one is Lewis Howes, starting your profitable podcast and build a brand. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't completely impressed with that one, but who am I? Lewis Howes has got like millions of followers and he's a big la-di-da, so obviously he knows more than I do. And then I check in frequently to the Chase Jarvis live show, which he does in black and white, which I also love. And it brings on a variety of guests. So it's definitely worth taking a look at. Creative Live also, it puts you into learning paths. So particular skills that you're looking at, particular things that you seem to frequently go back to, it then will provide you suggestions to continue expanding on that, or ones that could connect to that and expand your knowledge in other areas. One of the other places I go is TED Talks. And luckily, one of the online tools that I have for my TV, the one I used to have anyway, had a direct link to TED Talks. So now I have to cast them. But anyway, I have TED Talks playing in the background. Just incredible things that you pick up from these. And, you know, people that are just the same as you and me, all the way up to people who are just absolutely inspiring. It's definitely worth at least once a week reaching out and watching a new TED Talk, and just pick a random one. So, you know, some of them aren't great. Some of them are amazing. Some of them will blow your mind. Marie Forleo has been one of the major people that I went back to for the first year of my business. I haven't checked in as much recently, but she has an incredible array of topics and things that she covers, from business to writing to personal development. And for me anyway, she's quite a real person, and it's there's no artifice. There doesn't appear to be any artifice. And I respect that, so it makes it easier to take in the information. Gary Vaynerchuk's also been one of the huge ones that I went back to for the first year and a half for my business. Then his swearing got on my nerves, and that got in the way of what he was trying to say. I mean, I cuss like a trucker, but there's only so many times you can hear an F-bomb in one conversation before you're like, you know, it's a sign of intelligence up to a point, and then it's just a sign of a faulty vocabulary. So definitely recommend that you check Gary Vaynerchuk out. I've read quite a few of his books, Crush It, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And there was another one that I read. I think I've lent it to somebody, so it's gone off. And speaking of reading, there's an amazing channel that I found years and years ago called Goodreads. And if you're a reader like me, this is an amazing opportunity to track. Well, one, you can create a business profile on it, which is fantastic. And the other is that you can have a look at what other people are reading in whatever topic you're interested in. I happen to read, for nonfiction anyway, I love autobiographies and I love business books, good business books. I'm on the hunt right now for really good business books written by women, for women, about women, and not to exclude men, but I've read a ton of men. I've read Drucker, I've read Carnegie, Vaynerchuk, obviously. I read a terrific book by Scott Stratton, who's a local Burlington guy, called Unmarketing. Read a ton of men. Not a ton of women books out there. So that's my next hunt. So Goodreads is a terrific opportunity to track what you're reading, but also to go on and create a list of things you'd like to read. So why is that useful? For me, when I go to chapters, when I go to the library, it then creates a really quick reference of things that I've either seen when I'm reading. I read Inc. magazine a lot. I read Entrepreneur magazine a lot. And they usually have book lists. And I also read Success magazine. And they also have book suggestions. So if I take the time to add those to my Goodreads want to read list, then when I go to chapters or the library, have a quick look, and then I'm not missing those opportunities because those books are recommended for a reason. So that's what the quote from Jerry Seinfeld, the pain is knowledge rushing in to fill a gap. That's what it kind of brought up for me. And it's something that I'm going to hang on to. It's something that I'm going to use quite frequently. And it's something that makes me really glad that I have spent a good portion of my business time learning. Going to a terrific event on January the 18th with the DeGroote School of Business. And it's all about brain training and what happens with that. Reading a terrific book right now. What's his name? Daniel Pitkin, I think. And it's on the neuroscience between focus and memory. And right now reading an excellent chapter on the impact of sleep on focus and memory and your ability to recall and how memories are stored. And all of those are incredibly important things to know from my perspective because they influence you and your health decisions as well. They influence you on what you're going to go on and continue learning. And if reading isn't your thing, and I've talked about this a few times, then that's why I suggested a TED Talk. That's why I suggested go to Creative Live and see what's there. You know, and Marie Forleo, Gary Vaynerchuk, all of these ability to expand your knowledge base for whatever way you learn best. But here's the thing. When you have a ton of gaps in your knowledge, it creates a lot of pain. A lot of pain. And that pain could be as simple as daily frustration because you're not getting your work done, to not taking advantage of promotional opportunities, to not delivering on projects properly, all kinds of things. And so it's worthwhile to somehow assess how you learn best, what interests you, and fill those skill gaps. Because when you fill those skill gaps and those knowledge gaps, you are then able to help your clients better. You are able to be of more service to people, and you got less pain in your life, and save that for when you stub your toe, because sometimes that's just beyond your control. And when you got to go for that 3 a.m. pee and you're not quite paying attention and you bang, it just is what it is. So that's my thing for right now. That's my continued goal for this year, is to, reduce the amount of pain by filling that knowledge gap as much as possible, but acknowledging that when I'm in a frustrating situation, which is today's kind of a shit-tastic, frustrated, need to go berserker kind of day, I need to recognize that pain, that discomfort, that whatever that's going on, there's a gap in my knowledge that's going to get filled somehow or another. So I hope that inspires you to take advantage of some of these online things. The ones that I highlighted here were Creative Live from Trace Jarvis, and TED Talks, Marie Forleo, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Goodreads. They're just all terrific resources to stop the pain, man. Stop the pain. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I hope you had an awesome weekend. I ran around like a lunatic, so I'm looking forward to maybe a quieter weekend. Doubtful, but you never know. And that's it. Just know you have the guts and glory to create your own story and, your entrepreneurial entrails. I'd love to hear what's going on with you. I'd love to hear what resources you've been using to fill your knowledge gap and reduce the pain. If there's anything you recommend, I will definitely take a look, and I really appreciate it. You can check out my new website. It's temporarily on mcvcommunications.com. It's going to get switched over back to .ca because I'm a Canadian girl. But I am on Twitter at mcvcoms and Instagram at mcvcommunications. Talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for listening to Across the Desk. You can follow me on Twitter at mcvcoms, Instagram at mcvcommunications, or visit mcvcommunications.ca to see where else I'm hiding out.